Other than that, I was from the commerce stream. I did accounts, but finally, after my O levels, I wanted to be a nurse, and I joined nursing in 1974, if I'm not wrong, 74 or 75, or 75. And I graduated in 78 as a staff nurse. Worked in Singapore General Hospital, pediatric unit for 2 years, and then was in orthopedics for 2 years in Singapore General Hospital. Subsequently, I wanted to do intensive nursing care course, which I pursued and graduated in 1984 as an intensive care trained nurse with a Silver Medalist Award. And was posted to Tan Tock Seng Hospital.
In 1984, is that right?
Yes. And was a big change for me because Singapore General Hospital was a big hospital with modern equipments. But when I went to Tan Tock Seng, I was heartbroken initially because the unit I was posted to was a medical ICU and coronary care unit. The monitors at that time were quite old comparatively to GH, but subsequently I got used and I used to Tan Tock Seng and never left Tan Tock Seng from 1984 to my retirement age.
Right, wow.
That's about 49 and a half years altogether in nursing.
Wow.
Amazing. Can I go to the beginning? Why did you decide to become a nurse?
I've always wanted to serve people. There's a lot of care that I wanted to do to patients, quite inquisitive at that time. I was a very caring person from the beginning, wanted to serve people, and overall was also quite inquisitive about the profession.
Did you have any impression of what nursing was before you joined nursing, wanting to care for people? Was that something that you already thought of when you were younger?
Oh, no, actually I didn't. It just, after my O levels, I just thought that I should be a nurse.
Do you remember your first pay?
First pay? I can't remember, but it was very little. I remember it was 200 or what, I can't remember. I have to go to the office to collect my pay packet. It was all in cash. And immediately I would bring my nephew for shopping at Chinatown.
So there was a school of nursing, right? You went to?
School of nursing.
How was the training?
Training was quite tough initially, but subsequently, as we go in depth into biology, as we went in depth into biology, we got used to it, and practical nursing was quite intensive. It was interesting. I enjoyed every moment of it.
Actually, I think a lot of Singaporeans don't understand that nursing is actually a very important job, profession. What is the relationship between a doctor and a nurse? How important is the nurse?
If you ask me, I'm ICU trained. So we make a lot of decisions. We work together very closely. And in fact, in coronary care unit, we do a lot of first-hand treatment even before the doctor arrives. We can defibrillate the patient when you are trained to be an ICU nurse. So I've done a lot of defibrillation even before the doctor arrives.
Yeah,
in fact,
nurse...
I have rescued quite a number of patients.
Okay. So you have to make a decision. You can't wait for the doctor.
When the patient goes into a very chaotic rhythm, time is essence. You have to cardiovert the patient as quickly as possible.
What was the most rewarding part of being a nurse?
Well, in the ICU, you feel very satisfied when you have shocked the patient and they are up and speaking to you the next few minutes later. And they usually tell me interesting stories which I have not documented anywhere.
What kind of interesting stories about their own lives?
And they go into a chaotic rhythm. Some have told me that they run in a very dark tunnel. They couldn't see anything. They're just running, and somebody is trying to catch them.
Mm.
And there, when I revert when I revert their cardiac rhythm back to normal, they tell me they see light, flowers, and garden.
It is real, right? This is what they actually
I don't know.
experience.
This is not from one patient. There are few, about 3 or 4, who have told me the same story. There was one who has been climbing and climbing up a stairs, but the gates to heaven didn't open. She could have heard the bells, but the gates to heaven didn't open. And that's the time when we did external cardiac massage and we revert them back to the normal rhythm.
Obviously, the patient was a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you then, what were the challenges of being a nurse?
Challenges, difficult patient, difficult relatives, which you have to handle very tactfully. But of course, you have to put yourself into their position. They are stressed because their loved one is in the ICU, so you have to be patient and understanding.
It's very emotional time for the family and also the patient.
Yeah, yes. Some are sole breadwinners of the family and young family, so they have a lot of things to think about. They break down very often, you see, when there's a patient with a massive heart attack.
Mm. Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch off the sharing. Okay, now you can see your face properly. Go ahead. Yeah, just now I was
Yeah.
showing the map, you see. Later
Oh,
the recording
yeah,
will just show the map.
I don't know where I should face.
Yeah, now it's all right. You face the side of
Are you
the.
going to feature me?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I'm just in my home attire.
We are all in the home attire.
And my profession have never seen me in this way.
You want to put on your nurse uniform?
No, at least a touch up.
I thought Sata Sivan told you.
I know he did this morning, just a few minutes ago, he told me.
So I
So
want to
don't
ask.
focus so much on me, please.
Don't worry about it. You look fantastic, right? Correct or not,
No,
Mogan? She look good,
Yeah,
right?
she does.
no, I'm not. It's
She never changed a bit.
Never change a bit, ah.
Yeah.
never
It-
changed. I've aged a lot. Oh,
You,
my hair is gone.
you still got hair, you should be lucky.
Oh, okay.
y'all don't have old photos of the class.
No,
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
Because those,
Class, I don't have. At that time, we hardly have camera with us.
Yeah, pity, ah.
yeah,
But did y'all ever keep a school magazine or something?
those,
No,
those
I don't have a magazine of the school.
Okay,
see, if I
never
can
mind.
take some photos, I'll send it to you.
Okay,
If I
okay,
can,
great.
yeah. Because
Thanks.
normally,
Uh,
if houses we did not think of keeping all them that it will become useful at the end of the time.
So, Saras, I want to ask you, right? You know, Singaporeans have this misconception, right? That nurses are just there to clean up and, do
yeah,
the kind of dirty work, right?
yes. But now
But
it's changing. Now they understand the profession better, but still the expectation is very high because now they have access to internet. They are very familiar. They read up everything before they come and come to the hospital. And usually it's a difficult situation sometimes.
and the work has been very stressful, right? As a nurse, I guess.
Yeah, yes, it's very stressful, but with a lot of patience and understanding, you can manage them well.
Any memories of the matrons you work with?
Yeah, That time they were very fierce. We were very scared of them. But most of them, if you know your work well
Mm.
and they know you well, they're very nice. But you have to understand, because some go by the old books, the bait has to be straight, means every bait has to be aligned in that manner.
It's almost regimental, yeah, like in the
Yes,
army.
it was regimental, but the times have changed.
Mm.
Now we are very patient focused.
Can I ask you? I think in recent years there have been like foreign nurses, right, coming to work in Singapore,
Yes.
Philippines, China. Uh, how's your
Myanmar,
experience, Myanmar? How's your experience working with them?
they have to adapt to our culture. They have to learn our systems. It's very stressful for them, but with an understanding officer, they can go through this, because there's a lot of resources provided to them, a lot of teaching, as they have to go through a lot of trainings.
Mm.
And you have to hold their hand for at least 3 months to get used to the system here.
What are the sort of things that they have to get used to?
Basically, managing the patients, all the skills that's required to manage the different systems, and also they have to be competent with IT knowledge, not very competent, but basic IT knowledge, because everything is through system now.
Yeah, our hospitals are very well organized, right?
Yes, they are very well organized. The systems are all robust and
Mm.
easy to work in certain ways, because system makes things easy for us.
Right, right. I just have one last question for you. As a nurse, were you involved? Were you still working during the pandemic?
Yes, I was. I was
Okay.
in the CCU where the patients were admitted for
Oh.
SARS.
SARS, the patients actually came from the CDC, right? Initially, they were
Yes.
at the CDC,
No,
and then
no, they were at that time, nobody were aware that this is a pandemic that's going to take place.
Mm.
So the patient just deteriorates fast in the ward,
Mm.
and he was rushed. She was rushed to the ICU, and we were there to manage this patient. And then more and more patients and staff got
Mm.
involved.
Mm.
And a few of my CCU nurses all were down with SARS, and they were all rushed to the CDC,
Mm.
kept there. Then they were foreign nurses. They panicked. They were worried about their family. So there was a lot of support given to them,
Yeah.
emotional support.
Mm.
And I still remember my doctor succumbed to SARS. So it was quite traumatic for most of us.
Yeah.
We don't know what we were facing. We had to go through this pandemic because of our profession. We have to shower, change, and then go home every day. Even though it's 10 p.m., we still have to shower. And then worried going back to family.
Were you worried for yourself?
Yeah,
Mm.
was worried. In fact, my story is more interesting. I'm not sure whether I should share this.
You can share first, and then we can decide you want to, put it on the.
Okay.
Yeah.
When SARS, when there was a patient sent to CCU, that's the coronary care unit, we were not sure this patient had SARS until we saw the X-ray was changing very fast. Patient was deteriorating, and I was with the doctors there, and we had to intubate this patient. We just had our masks on with our gown, and we intubated the patient. And once finished, I had to rush to the hospital without knowing that this is an infectious disease. Because I was going to Thailand in a few hours, I had to rush to the airport,
Uh,
and I was exposed to this patient. You see, and my doctor who was there was also exposed, and my staff a few of them were all exposed to this patient. And that's when a few of the staff got SARS and they were moved to CDC. And one of my doctors passed on. And I was not knowing anything. I was in Thailand touring the place without even knowing that I was exposed to this patient.
Mm.
And the hospital was actually trying to get in touch with me. And that time we don't have roaming. I didn't put on roaming. And when I came back, I was screened. I was there for about 5 days. And I was sent immediately to the screening center and was admitted to the ward because I had symptoms of sore throat. That's when I feared for my children and my husband and my mom, parents, because I saw them before I left. Finally, it was negative. I was discharged and I back to work after the quarantine period was over.
Can I ask you, when you were first seeing the patient, were you wearing PPE?
Yeah, gown and mask.
Okay.
Just not an N95, a normal mask. Because that's a routine practice when we intubate patients.
You know, I have read the SARS books before. There's a book published by Tan Tock Seng Hospital.
Yes.
I have never heard of this story of yours. Yeah.
No, this wasn't told to anybody. The first time because I had to rush to Thailand, you see.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware there was a pandemic that was happening.
What I know is that I think soon after the first case in the hospital, there was a dinner and dance. Right? Was there a dinner and dance? And he was allowed to go ahead. Even though, you know, so many people will be together in the small venue, right? So you were at the dinner and dance, or you left already?
I was not there. I was already off to Bangkok.
So when you came back, what did the hospital say to you?
Oh, I was asked to go for screening.
Right.
Because I came down with sore throat. So they were worried, but of course, all the tests was done and I was negative. I was in the hospital for 2 days.
Was the hospital unhappy or anything like that?
No, they never. They screened everybody who came in contact.
Right.
Hospital was very supportive. And
Okay.
people were deployed from all areas to manage the ICU.
I think that's the important thing. The hospital was very supportive for you,
The
right?
emotional support from the hospital was great.
Yeah, and your leave was already approved, so you know they didn't cancel it, right?
No, they didn't know at that time. Nobody knew it was a SARS pandemic because it was just beginning.
Was Satasivan worried at the time?
Of course.
We should ask him to come in and ask him. He's here. Satasivan, we have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you remember SARS? And Saras was working in the hospital. That time she went to Thailand.
I think so, you know, because I used to see her wear her uniform and all that. But other than that, I may not be able to remember anything else.
Were you worried because she was working with some of the SARS patients?
Oh, okay. No, not really, because she was used to it, and then I know that she knows how to. I mean, I think the hospital staff generally, they know how to care for themselves in such situations, kind of pandemics and all that. So she came back home every day.
Often the nurses, especially during SARS, they face a lot of stigma, right? Because they are in contact with the patients. The public tends to blame them or to be very fearful of them, of getting the illness, right?
Yeah.
Have you faced this before, Saras?
No, because I was not in uniform when I come home. So I was in Mafti and not many people outside know me that I'm a nurse. Of course, if they know, then they will keep their distance. And Sivam used to fetch me from work.
Can I ask you, Saras? So I think Saras, the story you told is okay to use. because
Which,
it's a
which
good.
story you have to tell me?
Just now that story, the
The
SARS.
SARS?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
one is quite generic because I went through it, so it should be okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the patients who collapse with their stories, I'm not sure.
The patients, which one? The what they
The
see,
one
is
that
it?
we defibrillate external cardiac massage with chaotic rhythm. But that is also quite few patients told me, but I don't share all this at work, you see.
I think it's okay. We are not claiming anything that is right or not. It's just what they saw, right? It's just what they
Yeah,
say they
and
saw.
they used to say the garden full of flowers, fruits, but they never talk about hell except that running through the tunnel where somebody is trying to grab them.
Yeah, interesting though. I think
But
that
the
is
Christian
something.
lady, the lady who told us the gates of heaven didn't open for her, I think we shocked her almost 10 times. And it was a few, she always goes into this chaotic rhythm. And every time the story is the same. I
Wow.
think this story was shared in one of her church because when she came to see us, she did tell us about this.
Well, it's one of the things that science cannot explain, right?
Yes.
So I think your stories are great, right? And with your permission, I would like to share them in the video.
Worried.
Mogan, I think the stories are okay, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's no implication on anybody,
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
it's okay. And actually, it's an eye opener, especially when you go into a cardiac arrest. And Hinduism will tell you, hey, your mind is not with you, the soul. That the soul is going out and coming back, going out and coming.
Yeah. Yeah. The soul is actually out. And, and they can actually watch us resuscitating. There are a few patients who have told us that they can see that we are pumping them. But all these science cannot explain. So, yeah. And they won't share it with anybody except with the nurse they trust.
They probably share with their family, right?
I used to share this story with my son quite a lot. My son, who's a doctor now,
Ah.
and I used to read to him a lot on medical science. And occasionally, when I have nobody to help me, and he comes to the hospital and he sits near the telemetry monitoring with my staff for 1 hour till I finish my duty. And he's the one I shared a lot with.
Saras, I wonder if you know what Mogan did later on, in his career. Do you know what he did in his career?
I know he was working in the refinery
Mm-mm-mm.
and in the port for a few years. And he's here in Bishan. He's a few blocks away from me. So
Yeah.
used to bump into him.
So you all have been in Bishan for quite a long time, both of you?
Yes, since
Yeah. Yes.
1991. Yeah.
91. Yeah.
Do you know, Saras, do you know Mogan's work in the industry?
No, I didn't go into depth to ask what is he. I was busy with my own work.
So Mogan, you also don't know lah, the
He
Saras.
knows I'm a nurse. He knows I'm
I
a
know
nurse. But
the whole family is a nurse.
no,
Okay.
Mogan, only me and my sister and
Two
my
sisters,
two
right?
sisters.
Mallika
Three
and
of us.
Tilaga. Three of yours.
Yeah.
Mallika and Tilaga, yeah.
Malika is still working in the ICU.
Tilaga?
Tilaga, she retired from KK Hospital. She was a assistant director, and I think she just wanted to leave to do other things.
So
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Mogan.
Yeah.
I think in the oil and gas industry, that is also challenging in its own way, right?
Yes, it is. And we are exposed to chemicals, and that's what I choose to live 1 month prior to my retirement. because it's most of the guys till today, I do not know whether you can say, most of them, they came down with cancer. Recently, one or two guys I know, they are admitted for lung cancer, lymphatic, because the chemical we are inhaling is, there's no choice. Even though you're protected with everything, sometimes the environment, when you go into the things, we are exposed. And only a couple of them have serious condition. The rest are all okay. Other than that, and now I heard a lot of news that some of them went into heart problem, stent, this and that. I do not know because you're doing shift work, and that brings a toll to your body. After 2 years of retirement, like my whole body is back to normal. I could sleep well. I can do whatever very well. But when I was doing shift work, whereas after 2 days you go into afternoon shift, another 2 days you go into night shift, and that's your system is irregular, and that takes a toll on your body. But now after retirement, I feel like I'm fresh again. Even though the government has emphasized a lot of yearly medical checkup, we have extensive medical checkup, and they're very careful about it. It's across the oil and gas industry, and any small thing they pick up, they will treat you well. So on that note, I think it's very good. The government is emphasizing a lot of care, medical care, and they make sure that all the equipment used, the PPEs, personal protective equipment is out there. So if you do not want any harm to come to you, use them. And we really use them, you see.
What was your job exactly, and how close were you to the chemicals?
Okay, once I walk out of my control room is the refinery, is the production plant. So it's pretty near. It's about 1 or 2 meters away only. So once you go out of the plant, out of the control room, you're exposed. But of course, before you go out, you hang on to the mask, breathing apparatus. It all depends what kind of job you're handling. If I go to handle chemicals, if I'm exposed to gases, oil, so we put on our breathing apparatus, then we walk into the system. Other than that, it's okay. It's quite clean. It's very spread. It's not very compact. So where the gases doesn't just go off like that. Because even minimize gas leak from the equipments are very minimal, but accidents do happen, you see.
Yeah. Have there been like explosions that you experienced?
Yes, I did small ones, small fires. And I don't know whether you heard about it. During the 90s, 2000, there was a big oil leak in a tank. But it was controlled, but only the essential stuff stayed back, the rest were evacuated before it comes worse. But unfortunately, nothing happened. They were controlled, and they all came back to work after a week.
Were you ever based on an oil rig?
No.
Okay, so you were based in what was it, on Bukom?
That was my 2 or 3 years in Bukom. Okay, this fire I can really remember because just below a tank, doing some survey, where the tank got exploded. So just below the tank, you see. So that was a real experience for me. When I look up, hey, what's happening? So all were rushed back. You say, hey, Mogan, get out of the place.
Wow.
So we came out, assess the situation because we got to do certain things to minimize the fire. So I went in with all the protection, the fire hydrant protection, because my colleagues followed me in, so I got to shut one or one before it explodes, you see. And it also was controlled. I've seen a couple of fires in my plant. That means in Bukom, there was a naphtha fire tank. And that is, but no life was lost.
Right. Would you say these explosions and fires is because of electrical hazard or chemical hazard, or is it because human fault? Is it human
not
fault?
human fault, lightning. It struck the rooftop with just lightning.
Okay, wow.
Because all these, some are very light gases. So even though we have all the lightning arresters, but sometimes it do happen. So far, human, when I was working, not much of human error because we were, before we go into the job, risk, they call it RA, risk assessment. Before you go in, and we have a briefing, how to tackle the situation.
Yeah.
But sometimes along the way, if gas leaks, this and that, when it touches hot surface, it catches fire. But not to, thanks God, out of my 42 years, not major things happen.
Because when you work in an industry like this that has a lot of hazards, every worker, every person has to be mindful about the safety, right?
Yes. Everyone got to go through the test. You must be competent because every year you must go for certain trainings. Will train you on safety, the hazards, the chemical use in the plant, and the proper methods to arrest them. Yeah.
I just have one more question about the gas, right, and the oil, which is the shift work, right? How do you recover? How do you make sure that you are ready for how do you adjust your body rhythms?
Actually, case I do not know how I did, but I did it for 42 years. What happened that the first day after night shift, I'll sleep through. So the second night, I won't sleep in the afternoon. So I'll go back to sleep at night, and morning I'm fresh again. So this is what happens. It was a toll for me in the beginning, but after that, I get used to it. Yeah. When I travel, I got no jet lag. I recover very fast.
the shifts are always rotated, right? You don't stay one shift, right?
Yeah. First day, 2 mornings.
Yeah.
2 afternoon, followed by 2 night and 2 rest.
And it's mandatory, right? You cannot say I don't want to do shift.
No, because that's in your employment. You can't do that unless it's medical, where they can give you office job. Other than that, no.
Right.
Because if everybody asks for office hours, then it's going to be a problem.
42 years, long time.
Yeah, it's very long. Yeah. Like yes. I saw Saras about 49 years. I suppose you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. 49, but I didn't do shift for almost many years.
Yeah. Once you are elevated.
The initial period, of course, I did shift. 3 shift, not easy with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yes. I've heard before that the mothers would, they come back from the graveyard shift, right? The night shift, and they come back, they prepare lunch or breakfast, and then they go and sleep. Is that what you do also?
Yeah. But I had a helper so she could prepare some food for the children. So once I'm back home after breakfast and spending some time with them if they are home, I close my door and I'm knocked out because we have to do 3 days night shift. So it's not 1 day, we had to do 3 days. And ICUs are quite busy on night shifts. So you have to take your rest before you can go back on another round. So usually I sleep till 6 p.m. and up and get ready for work at 8 p.m.
Tough job.
Tough. Night shifts were tough.
Yeah, that's the toughest shift, right? What do you, both of you, what do you do on the night shift besides work? Sometimes downtime, what do you do?
I think in nursing, I don't think so. Saras got that.
ICU, I don't have downtime. And there's patients there to be. In fact, I used to be so committed to my CCU patients that I don't even go for supper. I used to take my supper beside the monitor, watching the patients through the night, because you won't know when their rhythm goes chaotic. So you have to really sit there and watch the ECG changes. So I hardly go and rest, even my supper period. I hardly go to the room to rest.
Right. Nurses have a nursing station or something, right? Where you can rest.
No, they have a tea room where you can go and rest during your lunch break, dinner break, and supper break.
Any downtime?
I got a lot of downtime because once I go to work in the night shift, it's routine after after the talk, we'll go outside, we'll do whatever thing we're supposed to do. Within 2 to 3 hours, we are back and monitoring the plant from inside the control room. And other than that, let's say if nothing happens, we will just monitor through the control room. If anything happens, we will go and tackle the problem. And late in the morning, before we hand over, we'll go one more round to check everything's okay, then we'll come back. So on my part, we are okay because all the guys will be there. We'll be talking, reading maybe manuals. We may have a certain training during the night shift. And that, for me, it's okay. I don't, unless major thing happen, then we got to go and tackle. Other than that, we are quite free. Only through monitors, we monitor the environment. With all the CCTV, we can monitor all from inside. But morning, one day before the work shift starts and before we hand over, that's where we go for a thorough inspection before coming back. So certain things you can't be monitoring from inside. So we must there physically.
Saras, I wanted to ask you also the COVID-19 pandemic. Were you involved in that also?
Yes, I was there. But as I was already, I think, 60 over years, so I did most of the administrative duties and the non-COVID cohort wards and mobilizing of manpower to the various departments where the COVID patients were housed. And then at the same time, run the existing wards so that they can create more COVID wards in other areas. So it was also tough moving staff from one place to another to support the COVID surge.
So you're mostly doing the rostering and things like that?
Rostering, manpower, shuffling, running the non-COVID wards. At the same time, your non-COVID wards are also down with COVID, and I myself was also down with COVID. So it's just mobilizing manpower to make sure that all wards run with sufficient manpower.
Were you down with COVID before the vaccines or after the vaccines?
Before.
Before, okay.
Before. Hey, I can't remember. Was it before?
Was it
I can't
2020?
remember. No, I think it's before, if I'm not wrong.
In the beginning.
Yeah, beginning.
Right. Was it quite tough? Was it quite serious? Because you
No, I
didn't have
wasn't
the vaccine.
admitted. I was just at home, isolating myself here.
Would you say the most difficult part for the nurses in general, right? Not just you, your nurses as well, was the early part of COVID or the later part of COVID? I think the early part of COVID.
Yeah. Of course, the early part, because there were too many staff down with COVID, and we have to talk to the staff to move them to different areas, different buildings in the hospital. Have to shuffle them and then prepare the wards for COVID. It was quite tough in the beginning. Subsequently, it was more settled.
Do you think we have done enough to acknowledge the nurses? Or we should do more, to acknowledge what the nurses have sacrificed and contributed?
What should I say? I think they have done fairly well to recognize those who have worked in the COVID wards. And ministry has also rewarded the nurses quite well. Yeah.
Do you also thank and acknowledge the nurses under you?
Of course. They were so willing to move to different disciplines within a short time frame. And they understood the seriousness of the pandemic. They were willing to sacrifice to go to disciplines where they were not even exposed to.
I want to ask you the same question, Mogan.
Yep.
So, were you an engineer or what was your profession exactly?
No, I'm a technician. I'm an operator there.
Okay, technician, right? I think in Singapore, right, although technicians and engineers are very important to the the economy. We often don't acknowledge them enough, you know.
Uh,
See,
uh,
so you are in the private sector,
yeah, right.
but your contribution in the private sector in the gas and oil is also a big part of Singapore's development, right?
Yeah, right.
What would you say is your contribution and those of other technicians to Singapore's economy and development?
Oh, they played a very important role because when petrochemical was formed out in 1980, it was then mooted by our founding father, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. So he brought in the Japanese Sumitomo to look at the area, and they were quite reluctant. And our founding father, LKY, really convinced them. And he grew up to, there was a South Asian first petrochemical plant. It's not a refinery, it's a petrochemical plant where you produce gas and plastics. So after that, when it came into, the first plant was set up, we ran a loss for first 3 years. That means money was pumped in. But after that, it picked up very fast and all the loans were wiped out and they were doing very well. And that's where everybody see and now there were hundreds of companies in Jurong Island where my company is based. So it's quite interesting because employment, just imagine if one company grew up to 100 companies, employment for locals are there. So when once employing the family is enhanced. So I think it brings a lot of wealth to Singapore. That part I'm very certain about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you ever, I agree. I mean, were you ever on Jurong Island?
Yes, all the while.
All the while. Okay.
I was in Bukom for 4 years. After that, I went to Jurong Island.
So for 30 plus years, yeah, you were on Jurong Island.
40 years and 3 years in Bukom.
Jurong Island is, of course, a man-made island, right? They put together all the different islands.
Yes.
What is your memory of working on Jurong Island?
Initially, we got to go in by ferry. The next 8 years, when they decided to reclaim the land, where now the only access is through by roads. So last time we got to park our car in somewhere, we took a ferry to the thing. Now we can go straight into the island, just park beside our place. So it's very convenient now. And I wanted to mention about COVID. We were involved in the COVID also because why? Before we go into work, we must do our self-test with a test kit. If you got nothing, we got to take a photograph of the kit and must show it to the department. We must send it to the HR department. Then before, every day we must do, whether you're off day or what, before going to work, you must do. So once you got COVID, you got to stay back at home. So that time of 5 days, I suppose. After 5 days, you test again. If there's no COVID, you go back to work. No, maybe you still. But after that, when it became a normal flu, then it's all cancelled.
Yeah, right. Was Jurong Island the work considered essential services?
Yes, it is.
So you were still operating during the pandemic?
Yes.
During the lockdown as well?
Those are essential that those who run the plant must be there. Those who don't, administrative work, they're given some days at work, some days off work.
So you were still on going to Jurong Island during during circuit breaker or so?
Yeah. You must be there. No means the plant can't run.
Yeah, so let me just ask you, how did you feel about that? That you still had to go out and work during the circuit breaker?
I mean, we got no choice because that's what we got no choice because we know what to do, what has to be done. And we don't get upset just because administrative work from home and no. I mean, the two groups can never meet. They can't meet us. We also can't go and meet them. But it's all there because why you choose to be in the operation line, so you must be there.
Yeah. Okay.
But of course, they took care of us. Sometimes they buy in food for us. Most of the things are provided. You see.
Thanks to both of you. You know, it's really an accident that I got both of you together today, thanks to Satasivan.
Okay.
And then by accident, I found that one of you is a nurse, the other one is a technician. I
Mhm.
think both profession, both occupations are so important to the history of Singapore. But often we don't get to hear them, right? We get to hear the white collar people, we got to hear the doctors. We don't hear enough of the nurses and the technicians, the supporting roles, which are very, very crucial to economy and to health. Both are two very important aspects. So, can I ask you, do you look upon your career with satisfaction, with good memories?
Because
On my part, I'm very happy about it because that improved my life because the pay was good. Even though it is very dangerous, but the pay was good. It enhanced my standard of living, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Saras?
same, I look back with pride and with the achievements I have done and the contributions given to our healthcare. Yeah. And like Mogan says, our standard of living has improved much.
Yeah, I
Very
think
happy, and I don't mind even if I'm offered something to go back if my health permits.
is there
Because the
such
love
a
for the profession is still there.
is there an adjunct position for the nurses, like part-time,
Yeah,
part-time?
there is part time, but it's just that I'm putting it on hold, enjoy my retirement for a while.
Yeah, so I want to ask you that as well. What do you look forward to in retirement now? What is it that you look to every day?
Oh, I'm not going to go back to work anymore. No more work for me.
Maybe after a few
3 years,
years.
maybe I'll see. Maybe I'll just to go in and a simple job, perhaps McDonald's, just go and have a fun there and come back. That's it. But not to this industry again now. I will never go back again. No more shift work for me.
No more shift work, yeah?
No more shift work.
Now you can sleep all the time, yeah?
Yeah. I do
eh,
wake up early in the morning. Maybe you're old, you don't sleep that much. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Any
And
plans to besides work, any plans to do other kind of activities or hobbies?
okay, I'm quite occupied with my social work.
Mm,
The association, I'm very much busier there. And that keeps me going, you see. So I don't feel bored at all.
mm,
So today also later I've got to go for a meeting, get things done. So I'm quite busy until I finish my job there, then I got to think about it.
You still have meetings, yeah?
Yeah.
And Saras?
Well, as I said, I'm quite busy with my mom at this point of time. She takes quite a bit of my time, and on top of it, I have a dog. I walk him twice a day. I'm quite busy, and I enjoy traveling. Travel quite a bit, and maybe grandma duties in the near future.
Not yet, huh? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
Coming.
okay. I think there's no better person to take care of your mom than you, actually. Yeah?
Yeah.
You have so much patience. How do you have this patience? I'm a very impatient person.
I am impatient sometimes, but
Yeah.
most of the time I'm quite soft
Yeah.
and compassionate.
Do you think it's your
As an
character?
inborn nature, my character, I can't do much about this.
Do you think there's also, is it inborn or is it from upbringing or is it from religion?
Yeah, everything plays a part. And the difficulties we had in the younger age, where resources were very limited, we just got to survive.
Can I ask if Mogan, you were talking about this just now, right? Getting the old photos. If you can try to find the old photos.
Yeah.
Actually, I would also be very interested to find your photos of being a nurse and being a technician. If you can find those photos as well, the older photos, that would be great as well.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
But I'm not supposed to share my control room photos. See what happens because
yeah.
it shouldn't be in the same because we are not allowed to take any photographs there.
Yeah,
And,
Jurong Island has become a restricted area, right?
yeah, after the 9/11,
Yeah, yeah.
9/11, very restricted. It's very difficult. Now I can't even go in now. So once you retire, that's it. You can't go in now.
Yeah.
So,
If you maybe the Ganing Sing or the Tangling Tech photos, if you have those, can also.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
scroll through and send you the photos.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much both. It's been a wonderful time for me to listen to you. Saras, you look great actually. You sound great and you look
Oh,
great.
oh, I'm very sad.
Why are you very sad?
I wasn't prepared for this.
Never,
No, I
Saras,
think
don't worry. He will do a photo makeup.
Yeah, you do a photo. Yeah, make sure you do a photo makeup for me.
yeah, you will look better. Yes, so don't worry. Thank you very much, both of you. Have a great day.
Sure, you
Right,
too, KS.
I'll let you know when the video is out. Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
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 Bye.